Peace and black power, peace and black power, peace and black power is the prince of Pan-Africanism, King Kong consciousness, intercontinental Ifa Tunde, notorious RBG. Brothers and sisters, I've been getting a lot of communication from you all regarding the conversation on Fox Soul, the Tammy Mack show, where we dealt with the coonology of Jesse Lee Peterson. We dealt with the coonology of Jesse Lee Peterson, his post-traumatic slavery disease. To be honest with you, I may not have taken the interview had I known it would be Jesse Lee Peterson. I would not have participated in that conversation had I known that Jesse Lee Peterson would be a participant. And the reason I would not have participated in that conversation had I known that Jesse Lee Peterson was going to be a participant is because I had already been on Jesse Lee Peterson's platform several years ago. You can watch the full interview on YouTube. This was back, I don't know, 2015, 2014, maybe 16, when I did my first interview with Jesse Lee Peterson. Ever since then, his company, his platform, his assistants have been trying to reach out to Dr. Umar for a follow-up interview. I probably get 2 requests every year from Jesse Lee Peterson's people requesting that I come out to California to be on his Fallen State platform for an interview. And I have refused. And the reason I refuse is I believe that Jesse Lee Peterson is insincere. I don't think he's a Negro. I do not think Jesse Lee Peterson is a Negro. I believe that Jesse Lee Peterson is a coon. He's not a Negro. Negroes are innocent in their ignorance. Negroes are innocent in their ignorance. Coons are not innocent. Coons know exactly what they're doing. Jesse Lee Peterson is a coon. And because I value my work, I value my time, I value the spiritual energy that I dispense whenever I engage in an intellectual combat. Whenever I engage in intellectual combat, I'm calling on my ancestors, I'm using my Ori, I'm using my soul, I'm using my spirit to address the issue. I'm very passionate with my work because I believe I was born to do what I do. And I don't like to I don't like to waste God's energy addressing nonsense. I don't like to waste God's energy addressing nonsense. I don't like to do that. And that now, if Jesse Lee Peterson, if he was a congressman or an influential pastor, and I didn't know he was a pastor. Oh my goodness. That is tragic. That is absolutely tragic that a man filled with that much self-hate would actually be leading people towards building their relationship with the Most High God. That is tragic. Jesse Lee Peterson is the perfect example of how black religious leadership, Jesse Lee Peterson is the perfect example of how that demonstrates how black religious leadership serves white supremacy. Now, he is an extreme example, but he is an example nonetheless. Jesse Lee Peterson has no business. He has no business serving as a shepherd of the Most High God. Jesse Lee Peterson has no business serving as a shepherd of the Most High God. He is an example of what is wrong with black religion. Other black pastors should come together and ban Jesse Lee Peterson. He should be excommunicated. He should not be allowed to be a member of black clergy. Could you imagine Jesse Lee Peterson being your child's principal or history teacher, social studies professor? And he's an elder. Jesse Lee Peterson looks like he's at least in his 60s. He is an elder coon. He is an elder coon. Some of us are of the opinion that as you get older, you get wiser. That's not necessarily true. Some of us are of the opinion that as you get older, you get wiser. That is not necessarily true. Jesse Lee Peterson is not a wise man. You can't be wise and be a coon. That is a contradiction in terms. You can't be wise and be a coon. That is a contradiction in terms. I'm seeing a preponderance of Neanderthals on my live feed right now. I am seeing more and more wildebeest, cave dwellers, genetically modified human beings. I'm seeing more and more of them in the live feed. But brothers and sisters, and shout out to Foxhole. I ain't got no issues with Foxhole. They all right with me. Tammy Lake, that's my girl. Tammy Mack, that's my girl. I don't have a problem with them, but I don't waste time on people who know what they're saying is holy bullshit. I don't like to waste time on people who know what they're saying is holy bullshit. For those of you who can make it, there will be a rally and march tomorrow in Hopkinton. Am I saying that? The place where our 16-year-old sister was lynched by a group of white, quote-unquote, friends up in Massachusetts. Hopkinton. It's tomorrow at 4:30. If you live in Boston, if you live in the Massachusetts area, if you can make it, I want to try to make it, but my schedule won't allow. Dr. Umar really wants to ride on up and participate in the march for the sister, but I'm having too many scheduling conflicts right now. But for those of y'all who can make it, please go up there and stand with the family. Our sister was lynched. They found her hanging from a tree. White folks, as they always do, are trying to treat it as a suicide. Black people do not commit suicides by hanging themselves from trees. Let me say that again. Black people do not commit suicides by hanging themselves from trees. Black women do not generally use physical violence as a methodology to execute suicide. Black women do not generally use physical violence as a methodology to execute suicide. Black women usually cut themselves and they will expire due to the loss of blood. They are wrist cutters, vein cutters, and this is women in general. Okay, women in general, they like to overdose on pills and they like to cut. That's what women do. They overdose and they cut. If you study suicide, and I'm a doctor of clinical psychology, I'm a therapist, I know this topic well. I've studied it all of my entire adult life. Women do not engage in extreme forms of violence as a method for suicide. They cut and they overdose. Now, men, on the other hand, are very violent. Men are very violent. Men will shoot themselves, hang themselves, car accidents, jump off the bridge. Men can be very violent, not women. There's no black woman who has. So as I was saying, men are violent with their suicide. Men are very violent. You got a suicidal boy, you don't need no guns. You don't need anything that allows for a quick execution. Men are very quick with their executions. Men are very quick with their executions. Women prefer a less violent means of suicide. And suicide is a very big problem in our community for black men and black women. Nobody's dealing with the suicide issue. It's the third leading cause of death for black boys to age 19, and it's the fourth leading cause of death for black men 20 to 44. Suicide, hopelessness, stress, aggravation, loneliness. That's why we're building the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy. I have a Neanderthal in the chat. We have an ice dweller in the chat. Let me get rid of this ice dweller. Every time I go on a breakfast club, I end up with 1,000 new ice-dwelling followers. Now, to my Neanderthal family, if you want to follow the chat, you can follow the chat. If you want to follow the Instagram, you can follow the Instagram. I can't stop you, but please be respectful because this is an African space. My message is to my family. This is an African space. See, one of the white privileges that white people do not normally admit to, is the privilege of invading the space of people who are less politically organized than themselves. Now, white people don't like black people invading their space. White people don't let black people invade their space. We can't walk into a white church and find out what's going on. We can't walk into a white business meeting and find out what's going on. We can't walk into a white community and go to one of their town hall meetings. We can't do that. White people don't even let us move into their neighborhoods. White people don't even let us move into their neighborhoods. That's how strict white folks are. They don't even let us move into their neighborhoods. But white folks will invade a black meeting, invade a black church, invade a black Instagram live. Like, you people you have all the power and all the resources. You control all the power and all the resources. Why can't you allow us to just be by ourselves? Why can't you allow us to just be by ourselves? I don't teach hatred of white people. I don't teach hatred of Asians. I've been getting some emails from people who are angry that I'm not out here championing the Asian protection initiative. I don't have to champion that because I have never done anything to harm an Asian in my life. I don't know of a black person who has ever done anything to harm an Asian unprovoked. Now, there's black people who have attacked Asians because they were disrespected or were attacked by the Asians, but black people don't have a problem with Asians. Black people don't have a problem with Asians. If you are going to argue that the American African has some sort of problem with Asians, if you're going to argue that we have a problem with Asians, then can you help me explain how we are being robbed to the tune of $30 billion a year by the Asian business community? Can you help me understand? If black people have an anti-Asian agenda, how is it that the Asians are able to rob us to a tune of $30 billion a year? Go to any black ghetto on the East Coast. Go to any black ghetto on the East Coast, and our community is littered with Asian businesses. The black community is littered with Asian businesses. So if the black community is littered with Asian businesses, if the black community is littered with Asian businesses, If the black community is littered with Asian businesses, how can we be anti-Asian when they've been robbing us to a tune of $30 billion a year? They damn near own the black beauty industry. The Asians basically own the black hair and beauty care industry. They own it. They own it. They own it. So how can we hate them when we shop from them every day? Most of the petty shops in the black community are Asian owned. How can we be anti-Asian? If anybody's anti-Asian, it would be the white folks. If anybody's anti-Asian, it would be the white folks. You know why I say that? And I'm not picking on you white folks. I'm just being honest. How many Asian corner stores do you find in a white community? How many Asian corner stores do you find in a white community? How many Asian stop and goes? How many Chinese fast food stores do you find in the white community? Who's really anti-Asian? Who's really anti-Asian? The Asian massacre in Atlanta, Georgia, and our heart goes out to the Asian community and their families for those women who were murdered. Condolences to them. It should have never happened. It was wrong. That Asian massacre was carried out by a white man. That Asian massacre was carried out by a white man. How did Asian hate get a black face? How did Asian hate get a black face? Black people have never, ever, ever been guilty of random mass violence against any people in this country. If I'm wrong, prove it. Black people have never been guilty of random mass violence against any people in this country. You can. When have we ever been guilty of random mass violence against European Jews? When have we ever been guilty of random mass violence against the Chinese and the Arabs and the East Indians? When have we ever been guilty of random mass violence against another people? We have never been guilty of random mass violence. But America, in her $500 billion a year media, misinformation, intellectual warfare system, because that's what it is. The media is psychological warfare. The media is informational and psychological warfare. America wants to put a black face on everything negative in this country. And the reason America wants to put a black face on everything negative in this country The reason America wants to put a black face on everything negative in this country is America has to destroy the image of black people so that the Holocaust will not be resisted by other people. Let me say this again. America needs to kill the image. America needs to crush the image. America needs to assassinate the image of the black man and woman in this country so the international community says nothing about it. So that the international community says nothing about it. Unfortunately, we have a whole gangster rap community. We have a whole gangster rap community that for the last 30 years, I'm talking to you rappers. I'm not talking to the backpackers or the conscious rappers, but I'm talking to our chart-topping so-called hip-hop artists. I say so-called hip-hop because hip-hop is positive and progressive. Gangster rap is not. Hip-hop is positive and progressive. Gangster rap is not. Hip-hop is positive and progressive. Gangster rap is not. But we have a whole army of gangster rapping coons. We have a whole army of gangster rapping coons whose music allows them to make enough money to send their kids to white private schools while their music sends your children to prison and to the cemetery. Let me repeat that. We have a whole community of gangster rapping coons whose music allows them to live in private white communities. These gangster rappers live in private white communities, and they send their kids to private white academies. I'm going to say it again. These gangster rappers, these Grammy award-winning gangster rappers, make enough money to live in a white neighborhood and send their children to white private schools. But their music sends all of the other black kids to jail and to the cemetery. Now, I don't know what your definition of coon is. I don't know what your definition of sellout is. But if there is any definition of a sellout, the gangster rapper has to be at the top of the list with Jesse Lee Peterson. Whatever your definition of sellout, whatever your definition of race traitor, there is no way that the chart-topping gangster rapper is not a coon. There's no way the average gangster rap artist is not a coon, because your music allows you to live a bourgeoisie lifestyle amongst the whites and send your children to private white colleges and private white academies and private white Catholic schools. But your music motivates our kids to go to jail and go to the cemetery. And then on top of that, these gangster rappers think they can come to the black community and throw a cookout. They're not going to build no schools. They're not going to build no hospitals. They're not going to build no banks. They're not going to build no supermarkets. They're not going to create no jobs except for their homies. That's it. No jobs. And they think that if they come back to the ghetto they grew up in and throw a block party, throw a cookout, give out some Christmas toys, give out some Thanksgiving turkeys, give out a couple jackets when it gets cold, and you think that somehow absolves you of being responsible for a consistent, toxic, self-genocidal message of extermination, you are out of your mind. Gangster rap and the black church have a lot in common. Gangster rap and the black church have a lot in common. Gangster rap and the black church have a lot in common. And some of the things, we are live at your school, brothers and sisters. We are live at your school. The Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey RBG. We're live at the campus. We got to get some work done. Got to get some work done today. So what do these gangster rappers in the black church have in common? One of the things they have in common is they rob the black community of money without putting almost anything back into it. They rob the black community of its money without putting anything into it. They distract our young people with materialism for the rappers and heaven for the pastors. Materialism and life after you die. They're distracting them with materialism. We are in the Nat Turner Jean-Jacques Dessalines Gymnasium. We are in the Nat Turner Jean-Jacques Dessalines Gymnasium. Thank you for all your donations, brothers and sisters. But they are distractions. And then for the church, they feed our young people a steady diet of loving their enemies and waiting to go to heaven in order to experience paradise. I said the black church feeds our young people a steady diet of loving their enemies and waiting to go to heaven to experience paradise. The gangster rappers feed our young people a steady diet of materialism, self-hate, worship of criminal behavior that they do not participate in. The gangster rapper and the black church, which one is a greater weapon of white supremacy against the African community? The gangster rapper and the black church, which one is a greater weapon of white supremacy against the black community? That's going to be tough. I think I'm going to give the edge to the church only because the church has the minds of the young and the old. The gangster rappers really only have the minds of the older people. I have a question for y'all. When you look at this gym, I'm asking a serious question. I digress. When you look at this gym, what color should we paint the walls of the Nat Turner Gymnasium? What color would you paint the walls? What color would you paint the 3 offices? Should the 3 offices each be a different color? If you look behind me, you see they're opening to all 3 offices in the Nat Turner Jean-Jacques Dessalines Gymnasium. What color would you paint the 3 offices? What color would you paint the walls of the gym? We're talking inside the gym. What color for the 3 offices? What color for the walls inside the gym? What color for the 2 bathrooms, the girls' bathroom and the boys' bathroom? Obviously, we have to give the girls' bathroom a female color, boys' bathroom a masculine color. But what do we do with the 3 offices? What paint color? And what color should we do on the walls? Somebody said do red, black, and green. I don't want to scare off the white folks. The flags will be red, black, and green. The symbols will be red, black, and green. I don't think the walls need to be red, black, and green. I was going to do each section of the wall a different color, right? But I'm afraid that if I do each section of the wall a different color, since the Rainbow Gang has colonized the rainbow, since the Rainbow Gang has colonized the rainbow, I'm afraid that if I paint each section of the wall a different color, it may misrepresent the agenda of the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy concerning our boys. So we have to be careful because they have colonized the 9 major colors. They've been colonized by the rainbow community. Brothers and sisters, we have to stop cooning. And when you see people like Jesse Lee Peterson, Candace Owens, Charles Barkley, Tim Scott, Kamala Harris, Barack and Michelle Obama, this is the problem that we have. Black people are always so willing to sell out their own to get ahead in the white world. Black people are always so willing to sell out their own in order to get ahead in the white world. You have to get to a point where you are willing to renounce your involvement in the white world. Now, you still have to pay your taxes. You still have to use their institutions until we build our own. But if you can make a living on your own, and if you can make your customer base your own people, and if you can learn to love yourself enough to live amongst your own people, then you never have to worry about being canceled by the white power structure. Our brother Nick Cannon was attacked by many of you. And I defended Nick Cannon. I defended him, and I still do. Not because he redacted or modified or clarified his comments or agreed to be mentored by a rabbi. I'm not interested in any of that, but I defended him because at least as a celebrity, he has tried to serve the liberation struggle. Nick Cannon, unlike many celebrities, and he's towards the top of the celebrity pyramid. Nick Cannon is by no means at the bottom of the celebrity pyramid. Nick Cannon is at the top of the celebrity pyramid, and he, in being that high up on the pyramid, he still tried to keep it real. He tried to serve the interests of the Black liberation struggle, and I respect him for doing that. A lot of celebrities called him a sellout because he had to retract some things so that the European power structure could not destroy his economic foundation. And because he's not totally independent, he had to do some retractions. But I still stand by him because being at the top of the celebrity pyramid, he tried to serve the interests of the Black freedom struggle. Unlike many of the celebrities who tried to attack and criticize Nick Cannon, they did nothing at all to try to serve the Black liberation struggle. So I can respect a Nick Cannon or an Ice Cube or some of these other athletes and entertainers who try as much as they can to keep it real, as opposed to the celebrities who never try to keep it real. But the point that has to be made is you'll never be able to keep it 100 with your people if you are engaged in economic transactions with the oppressor. If you have a financial relationship with the white power structure, you'll never be able to really help build the Black power structure. If you have a financial relationship with the white power structure, if you have a financial relationship with the white power structure, if you have a financial relationship with the white power structure, you'll never be able to keep it totally real with the Black power structure. LeBron James made a tweet last week. LeBron James made a tweet last week. And he had to take the tweet down because white folks was going to try to use it to publicly lynch LeBron. He took it down. So he had to take a few steps back, like our brother Nick Cannon. and I support Nick Cannon, and I support LeBron James. I'm only mentioning them as an example to illustrate the political lesson that I'm trying to offer this afternoon. I support Nick Cannon and LeBron James. I'm only mentioning them as an example to help underscore the political lesson that I'm trying to give today. LeBron James, as successful as he is, has a financial relationship with the white power structure. No knock on LeBron. Nick Cannon has a financial relationship with the white power structure. No knock to Nick. I love those brothers because at least they try. I love those brothers because at least they try. But the point I want to make to our young people out there, this is why I'm glad so many black youth want to be entrepreneurs. This is why I'm glad so many black youth want to be entrepreneurs, because you will not have to answer to a white person unless you do significant business with that white person. I want our young people to become entrepreneurs and business owners so they never have to sacrifice their integrity, because it's going to be very difficult to build the black power structure if you have a relationship with the white power structure. It's going to be very difficult to build the black power structure if you have a relationship with the white power structure. Now, let me say this, because I've been getting questions about these black male life coaches, these uncredentialed, uncertified, untrained, YouTubian black male life coaches. I'm not here to knock nobody. I don't know how anybody feeds their children. I don't know how they keep a roof over their head. I don't know how they keep food in their body. I'm not here to knock anybody's hustle. I'm not here to knock anybody's hustle because I don't know how they feed their children. I've had people try to destroy my profession, my professional career as a certified school psychologist, my professional career as a clinician and a therapist. I've had people try to destroy that because they didn't agree with my political platform. I've had people try to destroy that. So I will never attack another black man's ability to feed his family. Even with the gangster rappers, I will not attack their ability to feed their family. But I do want to say this to the black women out there. I'm disappointed in a lot of my sisters. I am disappointed in a lot of black women because I thought that our sisterhood was evolving to a place that would not tolerate I thought black sisterhood was evolving to a place that would not tolerate slander and degradation of black women on any level for any reason. I thought, black sisters, that you guys were getting to a place, you sisters, you queens, my beautiful black goddesses, I thought you all were evolving to a place where you would not approve of Eurocentric slander and degradation and debasement and undue attacks on your integrity as a black woman. But I'm seeing black women, out of their thirst for male validation, entertain some of these Negroes who have no history of organizing in the black community. They have no history of fighting for our children. They have no activism resume at all. Why would you subject yourself to that level of insult? Why would you subject yourself to that level of degradation and undue criticism from a complete stranger? Because you're looking for male validation. That's why we need the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy. See, when this gym is fully restored, I'm going to offer some sisterhood circles Dr. Umar is going to offer some sisterhood circles right inside of this gymnasium. I'm going to offer some sisterhood circles right inside this gymnasium where I'm going to speak positivity and strength to our black women. I'm going to speak positivity. The sun has come out. Woo-hoo! Woo! Mama Oshun is here, baby. Mama Oshun is here. Orumila is here. Look at the sun. It just rained cats and dogs, and now look. The sun is shining on the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. The sun is shining. When we have our cookout, we're going to put a bunch of benches and tables out here for the cookout. We're going to have a lot of benches and tables right here in the Anna Douglas Amy Garvey Park. We're going to have a lot of benches out here in the Anna Douglas and Amy Garvey Park, brothers and sisters. But I'm going to have a lot of, this is your campus. Thank you for helping me buy this for our children. This is going to be the center of black organizing in North America as soon as the renovations are done. But we're going to have some sisterhood circles. Dr. Umar is going to host some sisterhood circles where I can speak power and strength into black women. I'm going to speak power and strength. This is the Frederick Douglass High School you're looking at. I'm going to speak power and strength into our beautiful African sisters. That's right. I'm going to build you up. And what makes it so bad about these so-called life coaches, some of them actually regurgitate a lot of Dr. Umar talking points. People send me clips. People send me clips of some of these YouTubian opportunist so-called life coaches, and I'm seeing some of them quote me verbatim without giving credit to their source. And some of them claim to not even like me. So why are you quoting my material and not referencing me? You obviously watch me. You obviously watch me because too much of my material is coming out of your mouth. It's a whole group. There's at least 12. I think I've counted 12 different YouTubian beta male wannabe life coaches that are out there slandering black women, attacking black women, degrading black women. I count about a dozen. I'm going to call them the dirty dozen of division. The triple D, the dirty dozen of division. There's about 12 members of the dirty dozen of division, 12 beta males, YouTube life coaches who are trying to build a platform by making black women feel bad. I don't like it. I can't appreciate black men trying to make a dollar off of making black women feel bad. And unfortunately, our black women, some of them are so thirsty for validation that they're participating in the attacks and slander against the black female community, and that's not acceptable. That's not acceptable. No black woman should ever subject herself, even for amusement. Even for amusement. Even for amusement, the black woman should never subject herself to another man's condemnation. And what makes the condemnation so ridiculous for me, it's mostly superficial. Most of the assessment is superficial, brothers and sisters. It's superficial. You weigh too much. You don't have the right body type. You don't have enough education. You don't make enough money. This is European standards. This isn't African. That's not who we are. And black women are subjecting themselves for this because they want a black man so bad to publicly validate them. They're taking a chance at being totally humiliated because they're so thirsty to have a black man publicly validate them. That's why you're doing this, black woman. See, I want you to understand and overstand the same reason you go on these YouTubian beta male so-called life coaching platforms. The same reason you go on these YouTubian beta male so-called life coaching platforms is the same reason you stay in abusive relationships. It's the same reason black women stay in abusive relationships. It's the same reason black women stay. Why do black women stay in a relationship where she's being exploited sexually, emotionally, or financially? Why doesn't the black woman leave? Talk to me, black women. We're talking about the unconscious psychology of abuse of our sisters. We're talking about the unconscious psychology of why black women would rather stay. Because a lot of black women feel that if a man does not validate me, I'm not good enough as a woman. And some of our sisters' self-esteem are so low that they will stay with any man just to feel like a woman. That's where this comes from, black woman. That's why I'm working on my For Sisters Only relationships and dating book right now. That's why I'm working on my For Sisters Only relationships and dating book right now, because I want you sisters to understand what makes you get on YouTube and let a man destroy you like that. What makes you get on YouTube and reveal your private business to an absolute stranger? What makes you get into a relationship and let a man walk all over you? This is that fatherlessness. This is that fatherless little girl inside of you that cries out for validation by any means necessary. This is the abused little girl inside of you whose father wasn't there to pour love and pour strength and pour abundance into your soul. And now you're running around looking for validation, and you will let the most unqualified and uncertified. You will let the most unqualified and uncertified. You will let the most unqualified and uncertified YouTubian beta male tear you apart in front of your peers, because you just hoping that this one time you will get publicly validated. And you think that if you get publicly validated, if you think that you get publicly validated, you might feel better about yourself. And I'm here to tell you that the mind loves to play tricks on you. Your mind loves to play tricks on you. That's right. Your mind wants you to think that if you can get one of these YouTubian beta males to validate you publicly, your self-esteem will go up. But it won't. These are the games the unconscious plays on your mind, black woman. These are the games that your unconscious plays on your mind, black woman. Don't let your mind play games on you. Don't let that little girl inside of you who was victimized as a child. Don't let that little girl inside of you that was victimized by your first husband. Don't let that little girl inside of you that was sexually assaulted or physically assaulted by her mother's boyfriend. Don't let the pain of that little girl. Don't let the pain of your inner child, black woman, don't let the inner child run your life. See, black woman, I want you to understand something. When you read For Sisters Only book, you're going to learn about that little girl that every black woman got's living inside of her. And that little girl is scarred and hurt. All of what you've been through as a little girl, all the sexual molestations you've been through as a little girl, the sexual abuse and exploitations you've been through as a little girl, the relationships you've been in that did not turn out right. That little girl in you is trying to heal, but she doesn't know how to heal. So she's motivating you to get involved in dysfunctional relationships and dysfunctional situations to get your unmet needs met. That's right. When you find yourself going on these YouTube platforms to let uncredentialed, uncertified people, when you go on these YouTube platforms to let uncredentialed strangers evaluate you, that's the little girl in you. That's the little girl in you crying out for validation. And I'm telling you, sister, if your father is still alive, if your father figure is still alive, if your uncle or grandfather is still alive, if you have a pastor who ain't trying to get in your panties, if you have a pastor who ain't trying to get in your panties, you can have a conversation with a man who doesn't have a sexual interest in you. You can have a conversation with a man who doesn't have a sexual interest in you to help get those unmet needs. See, every woman in the world, but we're talking about our queens. Every woman in the world, but we're talking about our queens. Every woman in the world needs a man who loves her without any interest of sexual intercourse. Listen to me well, black woman. In order for you to be healthy, you have to have a man you can go to and get emotional healing and support. And that man is so secure in his manhood and so in control of his hormones and his root chakra. See, black men, we got to get our root chakras under control. The black man has to get his root chakra. Black men, the reason why some of us are so hypersexual is our root chakra is out of control. We have to get our root chakras under control if we really want to serve the black sisterhood. I'm going to say it again. We got to get our root chakras under control so that we can be of better use to our women. Because every black woman needs a man that she can depend on for emotional support that doesn't lead to sexual abuse. And I'm using sexual abuse in the general sense, not having sexually raped or anything, but having sex with a woman who really don't need sex can be a form of sex abuse. Having sex with a woman who really don't need sex, who's looking for love, that can be considered a form of sexual abuse, brothers and sisters. And so black men have to get our root chakras under control so when sisters come to us, we can say to ourselves, not to her, this is a beautiful sister, but she don't need me for that. She don't need me for that. She need me to be a man right now. She needs me to be a non-sexual man. She needs masculine energy that does not have any sexual agenda tied to it. Women often need masculine love and emotion that doesn't have any physical intimacy tied to it. And I'm going to say this to all the black men listening. I'm going to say this to all the black men listening. I'm going to say this to all the black men listening. Until you are strong enough to love a woman without sticking your Shango stick, until you can say, Dr. Umar, I know some women who are beautiful and got a lot going for them. But because I know I don't really mean them no good, or because I know they really looking for a husband right now and not just a friend, or because I know I have enough women on my rotation as it is, because I know I have enough queens in my queendom, although I would love to experience this, sister, I'm going to be a real alpha male today. I'm going to be a real alpha male today, and I am not going to let that sister walk into a trap where she's looking for masculine validation but ends up getting taken advantage of by another male. I'm going to let her know, sister, I'm not going to sleep with you. You're beautiful, you're drop dead gorgeous, but I know you're looking for more. And because I know you're looking for more, I'm never going to touch you. We are never going to go there. I'm going to be the man you can come to when you need to have a conversation about other men. I'm going to be the man you can come to and get a hug, a real tight hug, and it not lead to nothing else. Black men, part of being masculine is being able to turn that root chakra down, turn down that root chakra energy, and just be a brother to a sister. In order to be an alpha male, in my definition, part of being an alpha male, part of being an alpha male is being emotionally available to black women in need of positive masculinity without it leading to a sexual escapade. Part of being an alpha male, in my definition, part of being an alpha male, in my definition, is being emotionally available to a woman without allowing the relationship to descend into an empty sexual escapade. That's where we got to get, black men. America has made us too hypersexual. America has made us too hypersexual. America has made us, as black men, all men, but I'm talking to my brothers, America has made us hypersexual. And ever since slavery, 400 years, the black man has been trained to sexually objectify the black woman. For 400 years, the black man has been trained by the slave master to sexually objectify the black woman's body and the black woman herself. For some of us, the black woman is nothing more than an object of sexual satisfaction. For many of us, the black woman is nothing more than an object of sexual satisfaction. That comes from the slave empire. That is part of post-traumatic slavery disease. If you are a black man and the main worth of a woman to you is her sexual abilities, then you suffer from post-traumatic slavery disease. Now, don't get me wrong. Black women are gorgeous. I love 5'5" thick in the thighs. I love a curvy, conscious, nappy-headed, intelligent, can throw down in the kitchen black woman. Oh, yes, I love a beautiful black woman. Oh, yes, I do. Oh, yes, I do. I am a man with the urges and instincts of any other African man. But at the same time, the God in me, the deity in me, the divine in me dictates that I control that root chakra and control those natural urges towards reproduction when I see a sister who needs more than that. And a true alpha male can say, you know what? Not this time. Not this time, not under these circumstances. I'm going to be a source of masculine support for this black woman, no matter how beautiful and single she is, and I'm not going to let it turn into a useless sexual escapade where she goes home feeling used and abused. I'm not talking about a sister who is only interested in having a friend. That's different. If a sister just wants a friend and she's cool with that, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about sisters who you know are thirsty for a husband, thirsty for a meaningful relationship, thirsty for a long-term relationship, and you are not the one to give it to her. Can you just stand by her as a brother? Can you be the shoulder she needs to cry on once in a while? Can you be the brother that gives her the hug once in a while? See, the reason why some of the coons in the chat, the reason why some of the beta males in the chat can't understand, overstand, or understand what I'm talking about. The reason why some of you beta males in the chat can't understand, overstand, and understand what I'm talking about is you have been mentored by beta males who have positioned the black woman as their enemy. You have been mentored by beta males who have raised you to believe the black woman is your problem. I had a beta male say earlier, Dr. Umar, black women been in charge of the black community for 60 years. No, she hasn't. The white man, has been in charge of the black community for 400 years. The black woman is only a manager of the black community. And the only reason why she is a manager of the black community is because the war against black men, which is waged by the white man, is sending us to the prison and to the cemetery. So the black woman had to step in and assume that role. The black woman don't want to be the damn alpha male in your house. The black woman don't want to be going crazy raising your children. The black woman don't want to be crazy teaching her daughter about sex and dating and pregnancy and birth control and STDs. Do you really think the black woman wouldn't rather be doing something else? Do you really think she want to be working 2 and 3 jobs to get the bills paid because your ass is locked up or dead? And I'm not blaming you, black man. It's a war on us. But what I'm telling you, stop making the black woman the scapegoat for the white man. And if you feel that you have to make the black woman the scapegoat for the white man, then why don't you just be honest and say, listen, I'm scared of my oppressor. I'm scared of the white man. I don't want to challenge him. I don't want to fight him. I'm scared of my oppressor, so I'm just going to blame my sister. I'm scared of the white man, so I'm just going to blame the black woman. That's the truth. Tell the truth. You scared of the white man, so you're just going to blame the black woman. Can we tell the truth? Can we tell the truth? Because that's all you beta males are doing, trying to make the black woman the scapegoat for what the white man has done to you. The black woman does not control the school system. The black woman does not control the criminal justice system. The black woman does not control the legal system. She does not control the economy. Just tell the truth. You have been mentored by beta males who have made the black woman the scapegoat for what the white man has done to you because you are afraid to challenge your oppressor. That's why when the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy is open, there will be code of conduct on this campus. There will be a code of conduct at the Frederick Douglass High School. There will be a code of conduct at the Marcus Garvey Elementary School. There will be a code of conduct at the Nat Turner and Jean-Jacques Dessalines Gymnasium. Black power. Yes, sir. Shout out to Wilmington, Delaware for standing by the Prince. And black woman, I want all my black women to know something right now. I am not condoning your bullshit. My beautiful African queens, I'm talking to you right now. I'm not condoning your bullshit because some black women are on some bullshit. Some of you play keep away with the kids. Some of you take good men to child support who was already taking care of their kids. Some of you will bring good brothers into your life and you use them as an emotional crutch just to get your baby daddy or ex-husband to pay attention to you. I am not condoning the bullshit of black women. I am not saying that the black woman does not have faults, because the black woman has faults just like the black man has faults. But I am concerned about the example that black men are sending to young black boys right now in this country. I am concerned about the message that black men are sending to young black boys in this country when a 16-year-old girl gets 4 shots to her heart. When a 16-year-old girl gets 4 shots to her heart in Columbus, Ohio, and a whole bunch of weak-ass, no backbone having beta males will get on the internet and defend a white policeman. Will defend a white policeman who shot 4 bullets into the stomach of a 16-year-old black girl. I cannot condone that. No damn beta males. All these young brothers out here claiming to be masculine. All these young brothers out here claiming to be masculine, and all you doing is attacking women. I'm seeing entire threads on social network of black men talking about everything wrong with black women. That's not how we act, brother. White people are watching this shit. White people are watching this. They are watching you attack your sister on a public platform. Do you really think if a black cop put 4 bullets in a 16-year-old white girl holding a knife, do you think any white man would be defending a black cop? Let me ask you again. If a black cop put 6 bullets in a white girl holding a knife, if a black cop put 4 bullets in a white girl holding a knife, if a black cop put 4 bullets into the heart of a white girl holding the knife, do you think any white man would be on social media defending the black cop who murdered the 16-year-old white girl? What's wrong with us? That's why at the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy, we're going to have a code. We're going to have a code. When you walk on this campus, every black woman will be at peace on this campus. If a black man says the wrong thing to you, he disrespects you. If he does anything inappropriate, you will be able to tell one of the brothers or sisters, and their name will be added to the book of Negroes, and they will be banned. If you do not respect black women, do not come to the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy for any community events. If you do not respect the black woman, do not ever come to the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy for any community events, because you will be banned and your name will be added to the Book of Negroes. When you show up, we need to see your driver's license or state issued ID. I'm letting y'all know now. Don't come to this school for an event pulling out some fake Hotep identification card. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. State issued ID. My Moorish brothers, I love you, but you better have a state issued ID or you're not coming in. I want to see the real name, the name you was born with, the name your paycheck has on it. That's what I want to see. Or you're not coming in here. I want to know who everybody is and where they live. That's right. I want to know who everybody is and where they live, brothers and sisters. That's what I want. Black man, if I'm going to hold you accountable, I got to hold the black woman accountable. Black man, so brothers, if I'm going to hold you accountable, I got to hold the sisters accountable. Black woman, don't disrespect no black man on this campus. Black woman, don't disrespect no black man on this campus, or you will be added to the Book of Negroes and you will be banned from the campus. How we doing? All right, what's up? I can't complain. But that's all for right now. It's the Prince of Pan-Africanism. I'm signing out. Peace and black power.